Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Science of Wealth Manifesting Summit. This is your host, Azra, again. Here we are learning both the science and energetics of manifesting. And today we have a very special guest with us. Please welcome Jonita D'souza. She is a self-leadership mentor for women and a feminine lifestylist. She helps modern-day busy women to reconnect with their feminine and sensual energy using the ancient feminine tantric and somatic arts. People who have worked previously with Jonita have created a lifestyle that is fulfilling, nurturing, and pleasurable. Jonita is also a certified life coach, NLP practitioner, hypnotherapist, and she also combines the teaching of Indian feminine mysticism and shamanism in her work. She also facilitates monthly moon circles, online workshops, and retreats. So please join me in welcoming Jonita to the summit. Jonita, welcome to the summit.
Thank you, Azra. It's a pleasure to sit with you and co-create this space. I'm excited.
Beautiful. Again, this community is so thankful for your time. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became interested in feminine energy?
So my journey, as we spoke about, I was born in India, and I was raised in a very beautiful, privileged family there, where I was always taught one thing, that if you want to become an independent woman, you have to become financially secure. And that was the mental ingrained, like the mental, what would I say the right word, that's what they wanted me to remember throughout my growing times as a girl, as a teenager. And I think my parents, they meant well, and whatever they meant at the time, they wanted good for me. And I took it to heart. I really thought that, okay, I want to become independent, and I have to become financially secure. That means that I have to study hard, right? So
Right,
just
right.
just like most of the Indian families, like they pressurize so much on
Right.
education, and then it's madness, the discipline in education. So I ended up becoming an IT engineer, like most of them.
Wow.
So not a surprise, right?
Yeah.
So so I became an IT engineer, and at the age of 21, I got a good job in one of the cities in India. And my father was my biggest cheerleader, and he kept telling me that, yeah, you've got to become an independent woman so that no man can boss around you. And this is how his take was, like, because I grew
Right.
up in a masculine dominated society at that time, like we're talking 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And things are changing now for the good, which is nice, but then was a different scenario. So here I am, 21 years old, and started working in an IT company. And what was so difficult was to be me. I was making good salary for my age. I was working long hours. They were giving me long shifts because I was the new girl, and I had to work a lot, and my voice was not um, heard in the boardrooms. My opinions did not matter, so I kind of felt like useless useless there. And I was always an introvert, so I felt really awkward to even voice myself. I did not feel safe in my body in this boardroom filled with men, really serious about talking some things that really did not matter in the grand scheme of time and life, right? So I was like, what am I doing here? I was pulling out good salary, and I'm financially independent, but I don't feel independence. So there was this conflict that I wasn't feeling expressed, and I wasn't feeling myself, and I was feeling more and more confused. Like the routine was killing me.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, I found an opportunity to move to the West, to go to London. And I must say that in my growing years, MTV was a great influence. And I used to watch, the white women, the pop stars like Britney
Yeah.
Spears, Christina
Yeah.
Aguilera, all of them. And I was like, yeah, look at the white women. They are free. They can wear whatever they want. They can dance around. They can be themselves. That's independence. And so I had this in the back of the mind. So when I had the opportunity to move to London, UK, I thought, this is it. So I am going to move there, and I'm going to be finally independent. So I moved there in London. So I was 23, and I moved there. I started working there, and I made new girlfriends, and I was just enjoying my life. Like, this is it, I've made it. This is what womanhood means, and this is how we should live. And I was telling all my girlfriends back in India. I was making new girlfriends from the office, and we were going out for drinks, usually in the weekends, and
Yeah.
they would start to pour their heart out, like, hey, they're just tired of, being, doing the beautiful. Like, the
Mhm.
pressure was so much on to look good, to be presentable, to be accepted in the social circles, at work, to be given more notice at work, to be for promotions, or to be considered much more effective just by the way they are looking. And there was a lot of pressure in the terms of how they presented themselves, but inside of them they were hurting in different areas, and this would usually come out in those drunken conversations. And
Right, right.
I started to think that no, I was in the an illusion that grass is greener on the other side. These women have things going on in the underneath as well that no one usually talks about, and they themselves don't know how to express it. It takes a lot of alcohol to bring all of that out, right? So I felt a bit lost, like, this is not what I want to be. And I was also tired of, doing the beautiful to be accepted, being this brown girl. Like, I had to present myself, like, show, like, I know how to speak English, and, like, and present my value and dress well and all of that. So it was all tiring. It was all a performance. And that was the very time, at point, a crisis moment hit my life, the darkest time. I would say one of the darkest times, actually, was when my father passed away. And my entire world fell apart, because I was, daddy's girl, and he's like my cheerleader. And I couldn't come out of that depression. I did not know what to do to deal with this grief. And I was really confused about this whole womanhood thing and independence and all of that, angry with God. And at the same time, I encountered a skin disease called psoriasis. So
Mm-hmm.
my entire body was being filled with eczema and a severe case of psoriasis. I was doing all blood tests, steroids. Nothing was working on me. And of course, I didn't feel good in my body. I was depressed mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I was angry with God, because why me? I did all the right things. I studied so hard. I worked my ass off. I'm here and I'm sad. And on top of all of this, I was in a relationship that began abusive, and violent. So I just lost myself there. And it was during that one time, of having this angry conversation with God, asking him to give me something to work with here, because I'm really losing myself, and I cannot do this for my family back home. Like, I cannot allow myself to just go into this abyss and lose my senses. And I was having this angry conversation with God, expecting that I would receive an answer, but I never did for a really long time. But then eventually one day, yes, I
Uh-huh.
came across a Facebook ad, and there was a workshop called Essence. And I just got intrigued. It was 20 pounds. I thought, I am this IT girl, like, full of linear logic, and this is also woo woo. I might still just go and see what's going on, because I feel a pull towards it. I didn't know all those terms, like my intuition was telling me to go, and my higher self, and I
Right.
was, uh, no, it's something is telling me to go there, and I'm gonna go and sit there by the door, because if it's going to be too much woo woo, I'm gonna run away, because I don't like woo woo, right?
Right.
I need logic, and explanation and science behind everything. And so I went there, and I realized it was a women's circle, and all women sat there in circle. And I sat by the door, the easiest route out. And this lady started speaking about essence. She said that the greatest gift you can give to someone is to show them their true essence. And that's what I'm here to do today. And the moment she said that, I started bawling out. I started crying, because that was the word. I didn't know what my essence was. In the East, I was trying to be like the Western women. In the West, people were liking me because I'm the brown skin, dark hair. Like, so I was like, but who am I, right?
Right.
So I started crying. And for the very first time, people around me, the women around me, they held my hand, both sides, and for the very first time, they did not tell me, don't cry, it's going to be okay." And instead, they said, "Mm-hmm, we've got you.
Love
Just be."
that.
And I cried for the entire 2 hours. I did not leave. And I knew that I need to speak to this woman who was holding that workshop. And when I went and spoke to her, I explained my situations, and we started doing work with her. She took me on a journey of exploring different divine feminine archetypes. And that's how my journey began into
Mm.
exploring femininity in a nutshell.
Wow. Wow. What a beautiful journey, I must say. And so much of that resonates with me because, again, staying in your left brain, embracing that masculine energy so that, it's keeping you safe, right?
Yeah.
I come from a family of doctors where, they were like, oh, if you're not a doctor, you're a failure, right? And that's like, okay, have to do that. I ended up studying finance, took so multiple degrees, and then one day it's like, oh, so this resonates with me so much. Uh, so, okay, so that's beautiful. Feminine archetypes, love that. Tell us that when we talk about manifesting, how does those feminine archetype, where is their place? And yeah, how would you define it in those terms versus normal manifesting?
Um, Defining manifesting based on feminine archetype, I think what we see a lot that is going on in the world, in the personal development world specifically, is the manifesting through the mind, through affirmations,
Yeah.
like, yeah, let's do this 5-step process, and let's do affirmations for 21 days. Let's repeat it like 100 times a day, and that's it, and we will manifest. And believe me, I did that too, but I was getting only more angry and angry. And the more I was doing my journey of exploring femininity, what I recognized that I was becoming more angry and upset. And a lot of dense emotions. Like I was crying a lot, and I was thinking, what's wrong with me? I need to be positive because, manifestation, positive. If I am not positive, then I cannot manifest. And I was living in fear, like, oh my God, a negative feeling. I need to be positive.
Oh,
So
yeah.
here is where the feminine comes into being, because the feminine way of manifesting is working with the body, working with the soma. And when we say soma, it's the recognition that the body is not just a vessel of thoughts and feelings and sensation, but also a vessel of wisdom. So there is this innate wisdom inside of us, and
Yes.
the feminine manifesting is working with the body, and we do it through different practices. But when we do it, what mostly happens is all our repressed emotions begin to bubble up. All our, all the doubts, the fears, all the failures, all the unmet emotions, needs, they start to come up the more we are just doing the mental work. And I think the mental work is really good and really useful, but when it is combined with the body is when we create a beautiful alchemy. And then we realize that, hey, we can be feeling down, we can be feeling negative, and it will not affect our manifestation, because what we are doing is we're not wronging anything, but we are meeting our emotions, and not suppressing, shoving it down, and just doing the positive mindset work. Right.
Wow. Because, okay, so I just had like an aha moment. I think most of the manifesting people are doing is they're not feminine because we are constantly talking about 5 steps, 12 steps, 18 days, 15 days, this challenge, that challenge, right? Just even the words that we are talking about are not very feminine. So tell me, Jonita, that how does like a feminine manifesting look like?
Yeah. So I see it also as a step-by-step process.
Yeah.
And what I feel is that we require both. We require both the masculine and the feminine energetics in manifesting.
Mhm.
And it is not about balance. It's not about like 50% masculine, 50% feminine. Like we can't, like, who defines that, right? But I
Right.
think we understand the energetics, then we are able to define what my body is feeling today and how I can navigate. Because there are days where we have to be in the masculine, like you're doing this work, you have to be like, okay, let's do it, right? And then there are days that you feel like, okay, my body is telling me something else, is leading me to somewhere else. So I think understanding both energetics is really important when we begin the process of manifesting. So I like to begin from the feminine because I like to begin from the body. And it is about firstly becoming aware of recognizing that desire, right? Recognizing like, what is it even that I want to manifest? Is it truly mine? Because most of the times I realized that my desires were based on societal expectations, right?
100%. Yes.
So when you connect to the body, it's about connecting and really going into this recognition that, is it really mine? Is this desire really mine? Do I really want this? Or I'm trying to fulfill like some logical or some egoistic pursuit, right? And so we always begin with the body, because the more we are aligned with what we really want and call in, the easier it becomes for us to be in the run for the long term, right? Otherwise, we just lose interest. Like if I'm chasing a goal that is just falsely made or developed. So we
Right.
begin with the feminine, and then we move into the masculine energetics, which is like bringing your in India we call it the bringing your Shiva energy, which is bringing your power of decision.
Yes.
Once you recognize your desire, the true desire in your body, it's about activating the energetic ability to decide, like really activating your willpower. Like, yeah, this is true, I'm deciding this, and I'm going to go for this. And this often means that we say yes to ourselves. And this is a very masculine process, because we have to decide it in the moment. Like, am I ready and willing to go for this? Because this will require us to, expand the edges of our comfort zones. We can never be like this and want something from there, right?
Right.
So it becomes like a beautiful dance of the feminine, the masculine decision, and then going back to the feminine, like going into embodiment, then feeling into okay, so now that I recognize my desire, now that I have decided that I am going for this is what I desire from the wholeheartedness, then going into the feminine and looking into the body, like where are all those emotions coming up, that are not in congruence, and then meeting them through various embodiment practices. Mostly it's fear, guilt, shame and failure, and all of those
Yeah.
things. Those emotions come. So through feminine embodiment practices, we meet those emotions, not to fix them, not to heal them, but to understand them. So we're not fixing anything. We're not approaching manifestation as something needs to be fixed, because
Yep.
I have recognized that the more I am in the fixing energy, the healing energy, I am chasing something that is not definite. Because then I get to a next level and I have new sets of fears and challenges and obstacles. So it's a waste of energy to like try to fix those emotions. Those emotions, I like to work with the dark feminine energy. So those emotions are there to show us where we are repressing our power, where we are not fully owning. So I don't wrong those emotions, but I work with those emotions. I take the wisdom of those emotions and work. And this has been like so revolutionary for me, because I see a lot of people saying manifesting means be positive. And guess what? We are cyclical beings. As women, we cannot be positive. We are like a yo-yo of emotions, because that's our true nature, right? We
Yeah.
might as well to love that, accept that, and then make use of our even dark emotions. Like, hey, what is this? Why is this? Not wronging ourselves. So it becomes like a beautiful dance of masculine, feminine. And then when we are doing the embodiment, from that place, ask ourselves, going into the masculine energetics, what is the action that I want to take? What is the action that I'm called to take? So without clarifying all of this and just setting a goal and taking actions can be just a linear pursuit of something that can leave us uninspired really soon.
Right. I love that. So starting with feminine, and as we say, right, that's where you bring in Shiva, that is action. That's the real Shiva Shakti, basically, right? Love
Yeah.
that. Love that. Uh, so tell me, most of us, and again, there is stats, right? If you look at the scientific journals, even, a high percentage of us are living in our, like, we live in our brains, right? We live in our minds. We think, we're constantly thinking. It's like a hamster wheel. If somebody is new to this concept, what would you say? What is the first thing they should do to get in their body? What's the easiest one to do to get in back to your body?
So the easiest thing to get back to the body, I like to use the three principles. The four principles, which is the sound, the breath, the movement, and touch.
Tell us
And
more.
yeah, and this can sometimes look like a very elaborative process, but sometimes it can just look like a simple practice when we are waking up and then giving ourselves the touch, like really getting like, you know, we don't give ourselves that safe touch. It really calms our nervous system. So when I ask women like, hey, touch yourself, like hold your heart. Yeah, like how does it even feel? Just hold your heart, hold your womb, and just not with any agenda. Just be there for some time. This is your body, right? Just be with that.
Hmm.
Hold, right? It's a process of remothering we go into. So through sometimes just holding your body, and then I like to make sounds, which is like I like to do the surrender breath. So like breathing
Right.
in through the nose and exhaling, but making a sigh. And this is also something that a lot of women I see in my retreats don't feel comfortable with, like allowing sound at the exhale. An issue, like something is
Right.
blocked here. But we can do this with ourselves, like, lying on our bed, and like practice a little bit, because all of this is now creating harmony and resonance in our body that, yeah, we are here, we have been held, we have been heard, we are alive here, and now the wisdom can be spoken and listened and responded to as well. So sometimes I invite women to go into movement practice, but just simply holding ourselves and breathing, connecting, checking what's going on, what's the emotion, nothing to fix, but just presencing ourselves with an idea that something is present. It requires our attention, not fixation. And listening to the body, that's where I always begin with. I also like to combine the fact of movements pretty much because feminine is the flow, right? So you cannot just sit and meditate and be in the feminine. Like you cannot be in this linear position. And that's why for women, like when we move the body, sometimes I like to tell my clients, like, what's the emotion when you hold your body, when you breathe, what's the emotion you're feeling? And they would say like, nothing, I don't feel anything. Because mostly when we begin, we don't feel anything. So I invite them like, okay, for the next couple of minutes, just move as nothing. Like allow yourself to just move as nothing. Like move the body as nothing. No steps. And you know, these are the simple ways you connect to the body, to the feminine wisdom.
I love that. I'm just curious, Jonita, like this is, and I am adding questions in my head constantly. I do want to ask you this. You have worked with so many women, right? And most of them are looking for the next level or looking to feel good or looking to feel more fulfilled, right? What is one emotion that you constantly see that they feel that triggers them to come and explore this? What's one
Mm.
emotion?
So interesting. Sadness.
Sadness. Ah,
Yes, the women that come to work. So we do a lot of womb energy work,
yeah.
and when we go into that. What I see is I have not met any woman who hasn't felt sadness. Like most of them also come with sadness or anger. But in my
Hmm.
work, what I understood is that anger is a byproduct of sadness as well.
Ah, tell me more about that.
Yeah, so if you really feel, I don't know how it was for you, but growing up for me, I did not know how to express my anger. I had no idea how this emotion had to be brought out in, and sadly, I was told that don't be angry, you know,
Oh,
don't be
yes.
right, be a good girl. And so, what do I do when I feel angry? Nothing. So I used to just lock myself in my bathroom and show my anger, and I would start crying. Like my anger was expressed through my tears. And this became so normal until very recently when I realized that, hey, it's not actually the anger, it's the sadness that I don't know how to express my anger even. And so I see a lot of this with women that when I started my journey, a lot of anger was coming up for me. And it made me feel like I am in a healing journey. I should be feeling love and light. And here I'm feeling angry and more emotional, and I'm crying every day, and I'm so sensitive, and I'm a piece of wreck. And my mentor at the time, she told me that in working with the spiritual realms, if you're tapping into the depth of your emotions, specifically as women, be prepared to meet with a lot of anger.
Yes. Repressed one, right? Because we keep like, but when you open it up, everything is now coming up.
Yeah, and you know what gave me freedom is the realization. I used to think that my anger needs to be expressed to someone.
Yeah.
Realization to fix a situation, the realization that my anger doesn't need to be expressed to someone, but I need to meet my anger first. So I need to express my anger to myself, and then allowing myself to feel my anger through certain processes was so freeing, because after that, I didn't feel the need to express it to those people who caused me the anger. I expressed it to myself. I led myself through processes to feel it. And the best thing is, through out of that has come most of my creative content, to be really honest. So anger is a really creative force. I've recognized that sadness is a really creative force. We see great artists who have created masterpieces that came from a place of pain, but they knew how to channel that into their creativity.
Right.
And we can do that too, without the need, like, I need to tell that person that this thing caused me harm because of you.
Love that. How do we channel that, Jonita?
So again, we do a lot of practice, and I really highly recommend women, if they are going into this, to be in a supportive container. I had support, and that's why I felt safe to even show that emotion. So I take my clients into guided journeys into where they can feel their anger, and this is mostly through, again, through movement, through breath work, a lot of like difficult breath work to bring the suppressed emotion.
Yeah.
We to like shake it up somehow, like, and it has to be done in the body. You cannot be doing affirmations, I'm not angry, and it's not gonna go.
Right.
So there is a set of practices that I take women, and I always suggest do it in a container where you're supported, because when you feel like you cannot go through the barrier, that's the moment you know that the breakthrough is happening.
Perfect. And any of you who we are going to share all the links with you. So don't worry, you will be easily able to find Jonita. My last question, Jonita. Let's say we are going to lose all our memory. What is one message that you want everybody to take from this interview?
So what I would like us to remember, that we're talking about feminine and manifesting and receiving, is that it's a work that takes into like compounding. What I like to say is that what you're feeling today really matters. What you're feeling tomorrow really matters. Everything adds up. So there may be days where you are not feeling good. It doesn't really matter if you are not feeling good and you feel like, I cannot manifest and today is a bad day and it's going to be wrong. As long as you don't wrong yourself, remember that what you're feeling is so important. And when you allow yourselves to feel that, and then when you feel, then you get out of it. When you don't allow to feel, that's when you kind of like, carry that dense energy. So you're easily able to carry out that wisdom throughout. So I like to remind everyone that allow yourself to feel. And if you're feeling sad or angry, make it beautiful and make it a sensual process. Like, okay, I'm feeling sad. I'm just going to bring flowers for me, listen to this sad music, watch a sad movie, and I'm just going to make a beautiful time out of my sadness. So what we're doing is that we're allowing ourselves to feel, and this really helps in manifestation.
I love that. What you're saying is very powerful. Feel your feelings so that they are not repressed, and one day they just don't like,
Ticking time bombs.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, exactly. And that's what That's what women do, actually, right? We just wait, repress, and then one day it all just comes out, right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Jonita, thank you so much for sharing this knowledge with us. This community really, really appreciates you. Thank you so much for making time for us.
I'm so happy that you are creating this. I like that you are involving science and spirituality and energetics and quantum and all of that. It's so much needed. The time is now. So thank you that you're
Thank you
doing this.
so much. No, thank you. Thank you again. And everyone, Jonita has shared a small gift for you, which we will be revealing in the emails that you will get. We will also be sending you Jonita's social links and her website. Do not go anywhere. We will be back with our next speaker soon. For now, bye.